Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to, I don't know, episode 113, something like that of DevChatter. I think I just wrote it like a few minutes ago, so you'd think I'd remember that number, but it's getting rather large. But either way, hopefully you're all having a fantastic Saturday. We are going to write some code today. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. We are going to talk about some good principles of development. So even though we are done with the solid acronym, so SOLID, we are still going to talk about important principles and continue on with Solid Saturday. So welcome everybody. I see a lot of people saying hi in chat. Let's see, honestly including another acronym in your acronym is cheating. Zarnel, that's not true because there's SRP. So there's actually acronyms for all of the solid principles. But yeah, you're right. This should be Dry Saturday now. Well, at least Zarnel, in this case, we're not covering D, R, and Y separately. We're going to cover them all together, but welcome everybody. I'm going to give people a few minutes to get started. We're not going to spend much time on slides. We never do on our Solid Saturdays. Our goal is always to get as quickly as possible into coding. So today we're going to be working on the chatbot again, and we're actually going to continue on some of the stuff we were doing last time. So we are going to remove some repeated code throughout our system. We're going to shift things into one place, so just general good improvements to our source code. It's all going to be in C#, and we're going to discuss some nice ideas for how we can make our bot, I'll say, more user-friendly, so that other people, and potentially even non-developers, could start using the bot. So for now, we've been building it with the idea that the only people running it are us, so me, you, other developers, and that's about it. So, welcome everybody, welcome. Will Bennett, Gareth Hubble, Zarnel, Exclusive PR. I saw Jay Steff earlier. Welcome everybody, welcome, welcome. It is time to start writing some code, and before we do that, we're going to discuss a couple of slides. So, DRY. The DRY acronym stands for Don't Repeat Yourself. Yeah, for this first Saturday, we're just going to cover don't. All right, let's work on Okay, so no, just kidding. So don't repeat yourself. This is a pretty obvious one, but what's interesting about it and what I want to discuss is the fact that dry is sort of like the central principle around which all the other ones are created. So especially when you think about the solid principles, the idea of putting something in the right place, so single responsibility, has the idea along with it that one thing is going to be responsible for that concept, which means we're not going to spread it out a bunch. We're not going to repeat it. So dry is a very important principle. So that's why we're including it as part of Solid Saturdays. Because it really is the foundation of many of the others. So dry, don't repeat yourself. Let's take a look at our first fun slide, which you guys knew we were going to have in here because you've been to some of the previous Solid Saturdays. So, I will not repeat myself. I will not repeat myself. We like this slide. We use this in our calendar in our 2011 software craftsmanship. Don't repeat yourself. We like it. You know, repetition is the root of all evil. It's kind of funny because, you know, the idea of writing it on the chalkboard that you won't repeat yourself. We do think it's important enough that it bears repetition. Don't repeat yourself is such an important principle. We suggest you remind yourself of it, which is kind of funny because you're repeating yourself. Okay, so on to the real slides now. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the don't repeat yourself principle, and a lot of people just call it dry. So now let's move on to our first slide. And the first slide, as you guys were probably expecting, is going to be one of the jokes from our software craftsmanship calendar. And in this one, we just thought it was funny because on the chalkboard, you get the kid repeating, "I will not repeat myself. I will not repeat myself. I will not repeat yourself." So it's kind of funny. So don't repeat yourself. It's the repetition of the root of all evil. Alright, so let's move on to our real slides. Okay, so we're going to talk about don't repeat yourself, and that principle, the don't repeat yourself principle, is an interesting one. So, in our calendar, we did this interesting thing. We said, we did this chalkboard joke, and we're like, I will not repeat myself, I will not repeat myself, I will not repeat myself. So, we did that. It's for the don't repeat yourself principle. We thought it was kind of funny. But in all seriousness, I don't think I need to explain don't repeat yourself. I think you guys generally get the idea. I think everybody here probably understands that one. So, just for the quick little thing, you may have noticed when I was doing that the don't repeat yourself actually changed. And this is what I find funny about it, is when we actually did this, we really did do 3 different versions of don't repeat myself. And you might be thinking, okay, cool, you just repeated yourself, that's the joke. But this joke actually goes further. And here's why. Let me actually explain. So, the joke actually is setting up reality, so I hope I didn't lose anybody there with my little bit of humor. However, I want you to notice that these images are all slightly different. So we adjusted them slightly. You'll notice that the brightness level of the image itself is not the same, as well as the actual apple that appears in them is slightly different. Now, a lot of times, what you're probably going to do in your coding and other things like that is you're going to take something, you're going to copy it, and you're going to make a slight change. But 90% of the code is the same. So realistically, when we talk about dry and don't repeat yourself, we're not talking about the code was 100% the same. Obviously, if the code is 100% the same, yeah, that fits don't repeat yourself and you should fix it. But the more important thing is understanding, wait a minute, 90% of this code is the same. Do we really need each of these to be separate? And so that's the real, wisdom here, is we did repeat this, and we slightly changed it, but that's still wrong. And all of you, and in the calendars, we're always making jokes. That's the whole point of it. It's a humorous calendar. It's supposed to be fun. But here, obviously, we did not repeat the same thing. We changed it each time. Little differences. So, anyway, all kidding aside, we are going to write some code. We are going to consider whether or not we need to be following don't repeat yourself and, enforcing it for anything like that. The case for not using for loops. Oh, for loops are okay. For loops are okay. I don't mind for loops. Okay, so, coding. We were working on, last time, we were working on storing the basic set of command data. So we did not finish this. Essentially what we wanted to do is we want to take a lot of the data that is about these commands. We want to allow them to be enabled and disabled. And I want to kind of take code that we've spread out throughout our code base and is repeated across all these various objects. I want to get rid of that. I want to move it all to one place. And then once it's in that one place, I want to take all the content that we have in there, so that's all the differences, and I want to move that to one place as well. So we're going to do a little bit of refactoring, and we're going to start working towards dry. Oh, give me a break. Dry does not mean eliminate all loops. It doesn't mean don't execute the same thing. In fact, I think it'd be in favor of loops, so you don't have to repeat the code. Yeah, exactly, Zarnel. Loops help you not repeat yourself. Because it's the developer repeating themselves. We don't care if the program repeats itself. Alrighty. Let's get digging into this code. So, setup database. This is the place where we were working. We left ourselves a to-do for what we wanted to do on this stream. So, it is right here. And what I want to do is this. Will Bennett, yeah, loops could be a sign that you are violating dry. It is possible. I didn't put in obvious things for don't repeat yourself, although, actually, because this is the solid stream, there are a few things I want to mention. There are various tools that exist on the internet. Now, I haven't actually run this one in quite a while, but there are a lot of tools that can help you out with stuff. Oh, yeah, I should mention, Jadisku, did you see that I fixed the, I fixed that. We fixed it so the hype command actually works again. So we can now have parameters working, so this should also work. Yep, rigged. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to talk about this kind of stuff. There are things like Atomic that exist on the internet, and Atomic, as well as many other like code similarity finders and other stuff like that, there are plenty of them. The code similarity finders and other stuff like that, they're looking for duplication. They want to find your, so they're going to examine your code and they're going to look for places where you did the same code or something really close to it. So they're just analyzing text and they're looking for similarities. So yeah, there are, as I was mentioning, there are a lot of tools that have these kinds of things, and they sort of help you get an understanding of where this repetition exists. There are tons of them. I was not planning on running one right away, but maybe we will grab one and run it before the end of the stream today. If this project says CodeRush, it is then, so yeah, so I have CodeRush installed on this computer. I have a license for CodeRush. We are not currently running it, but yes, I do like CodeRush. Add the... I actually like CodeRush, I like ReSharper, heck, I even like Just Code. There are a lot of tools that can help us developers write better code. So there's always useful things that you can add to your tool belt. Okay, so here's what I want to do. So in our code right now, the way that it works when the bot runs is at startup, it checks the database to see if we have data. If we're missing any data, it looks to see whether or not there's any data that it can add into the database, and if there is, it does it. So it's looking to see if you're missing anything, and it's going to reset you to factory defaults if you are. So that means at initial startup, you have some data in your database. So that's our main point of this. And Will Bennett, yeah, the only one I've got on my computer right now is the Roslyn edition, which it's currently disabled because ReSharper and CodeRush fight a lot. But yes, I do have the Roslyn edition. I don't know if it has that feature. We could ask Mark Miller at some point, and I'm sure he could tell us. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to take all the various things that we have on our bot objects and get them off of it, because we have a ton of bot commands in this code, and many of them have the same kinds of stuff, even if it's just a simple thing. So let's see if we can refactor some of that out and get it moved somewhere else so that we aren't repeating the same code everywhere. This is a small reduction. We'll run some code similarity find. We'll probably run a code similarity finder like Atomic or something like that before the end of the stream and just see what it comes back with. Okay, so step one. We are in here. That is part of the web project. Default data in the web project? I think I'm okay with that. Technically it could go in the EF project, but I feel like it should be out here. It's a tough call. So for now I'm going to put it out here and we'll see what happens with it. So let's call this default data. So default data, let's make a class to begin with. Maybe command data for now. So default command data. I'm going to create a class called default command data, and I don't know if I like that name yet. We're just going to create it because it's good to just kind of get some things created and get yourself moving. That's why I always recommend making sure. So Visual Studio, for example, can handle a lot of the tooling stuff that we want to do. Things like making sure that we have good refactoring commands, things like that. Visual Studio does a lot of that. So make sure whatever IDE you're ever in, always make sure you've got good refactorings to be able to help you with that kind of stuff. I am going to make a JSON file because I like JSON. And we're going to call this default command data. And now the reason I'm thinking about doing this is because if we just make this in a default JSON file, someone could alter it and things like that, so their factory default that they go back to is different. And then this also is a nice, easy place for people to modify data. And the nice thing about it is it's then not in a C# file, so someone could just edit this file only and send that up to a pull request. So if we need modified data in here for the defaults, then that works out pretty well. Let's see, so inside of this, that's the root object. Let me see what's going on in chat. For hype and dip commands to show what is releasing. I had both CodeRush and ReSharper installed and working side by side. Just needed to disable a couple of CodeRush shortcuts. Also choose which IntelliSense you want to use. Oh, yeah, Will. I should figure that out at some point, because I would love to have all the CodeRush snippets. But the problem is I really like a couple of the things that ReSharper does, and so I really want to have it also. Could CodeRush have a quicker startup? Oh, God, yes, Gareth. CodeRush starts up way faster than ReSharper. So they do different stuff. ReSharper does a lot more with refactorings and other stuff like that, and does a lot more analytics of the code. But CodeRush has better snippets and things like that. So it's faster it's like faster typing focused, and ReSharper's more focused on analyzing code and refactoring. So they do different things. That's why Will Bennett was saying that he's able to run them both at the same time. Might have to give a demo of it. Been a ReSharper guy for 8 years. Oh, Gareth, there is actually a video where I had Mark Miller. If you check in my YouTube and you search for hang on, let me link my YouTube. If you check that out, you'll actually find they did an episode where Mark Miller showed up on the show. He just walked us through CodeRush, showing us all kinds of stuff, so it was very fun. And dry is not the opposite of solid. I would actually argue that solid is very much... dry is like the foundation of solid. Solid is created on dry. So, at least that's my feeling on it. Single responsibility, for example, the repeated stuff is like class declarations, which I don't have a problem with. That's not code I'm worried about. It gets it so that there's one single spot for an answer to something. So it makes it so you're not repeating it all over the place. Other things like that. So open-close principle also is very, very dry. Oh, that's funny, Will. I used CodeRush earlier this year, actually, for quite a while. We used it for a few weeks here on the stream. Anyway, let's take a look at the data that we want to create. So we want to make command objects. So this is, we'll call this commands. And the commands are going to include, what do we want in here? We want to have, I'm just trying to think through the structure here. So this is some kind of an object. We're going to have, well, we'll add the comma when we add the next one. So what kinds of things need to be on here? Help text. Foo. Then we need to have cooldown. Right? What else goes on here? Let's take a look at a command. Role required. Yes, role required. Role required. And the base command will tell us what else we need. So we have the cooldown. Primary command text, command words, help text. Is enabled. Is enabled. That's the one we need that I didn't think about. I think right now we're just defaulting to true for everything. Yep, enabled args. Ooh, do we have args on it? I don't think we have args on it just yet. At least I'm not sure how we're gonna pull that one out yet. But is enabled help text cooldown. Okay, so cooldown. Default command data is this. It's going to have a collection of commands. Command data. Commands. Right, we called it that, right? Commands, yep, there we go. So this is going to be derp. This is going to be the next type that we create. So we want another type here. We're going to create command data, and this is the one that's going to get those properties. So it's going to have... You want to not take away my ability to do that there? Is enabled. Prompt string. Help text. Prop. Time span? Oh my god. Can we... What happens when you serialize a time span? And, Gareth, welcome to the Chatosaurus crew. Thank you for that, Tier 1 subscription. Can we get some spammed hype in the chat there, please? Much appreciated. You now get to join the fun crew here, where we have Chatosauruses with all the hype in the world. Role required is the last one. Prop. User role. Role required. There we go. Okay. What is the trick to serializing is that you don't have to worry about it. The serializers... yes, Zarnel. That is a very good point. Yeah, the bot coming back in a lot is what's distracting there, Guntbert. The bot keeps arriving because I keep modifying files that are making it restart. So I need to fix that. I just disabled the bot so it will shut up for a while. Is enabled, help text, cooldown, role required. I think that's a good set. I don't know why this one's white and the other ones are gray. I don't know why it thinks help text is important. And actually, just to confirm, let's do this. Let's see what it would have come up with. So is enabled, true. Help text. True. Help text full cooldown. Hang on, JSON, serialize, enum. It just does the number, right? It's just gonna be a number. I'm like 90% sure it's gonna be a number. You're not gonna show me the end result? Really? Thanks. String convert, blah blah blah. Okay, anyway, I want to have this in here written so that it's easy for people to change. So, commands, we need one other thing on here. We need to have, not the full type. We want to go with command name. I guess we could full type. Command word, full type. We don't need default command word in there, I don't think, because we're going to create that based on the object name itself. Which I guess means we have to do it based on the full type name. Oh my god, really? That's awesome. Oh, no, it just figured it out. Prop, string. So I guess we'll match on full type name. Who knew? Enabled help text cooldown result required. Okay, well let's take a look at our default set then. So I'm going to yank the data out of the database and we're going to use that as the starting point for this data. So expand that, pull this out, open up the table, and in here we have command words. View data. For our default data, we're going to do that for now. Really? It put these all on the same line, huh? Are you kidding me? It really just doesn't want to do it. That's so funny. It's so confused right now. Alright. Fuel Snable, welcome. Alright, we're gonna pull this one. Put it up there. Is enabled true. Let's go take a look. Roulette command. Everyone. Cooldown on that. We don't have a cooldown on it. So let's say 0 is the value when we want it to be no cooldown. So there is no cooldown, so it's set to 0. Help text. Hey, S&B, welcome. Fuel Snable, no, we're doing, so today is don't repeat yourself. So we're going to try to get some of our code removed. So some of this stuff like using the user roles all over our code base, passing in all these things, hopefully clear a lot of that up. We specify the help text in every one of these files, hoping to clear those out as well. I don't think there was help text for this. Just type / quote bang roulette. Just trying to command and see what happens. There we go. It is enabled. Cooldown is 0. Everyone can use it. Fantastic. The next command is that one. So we are going to drop one of those. We're going to duplicate this line like so. And actually, now that I think about it, I want to have a blank one as a template on the bottom. I'm going to have a blank one to start with each one of these so we can be copying the blank one each time. Everybody can call the rock, paper, scissors command. And it's got to have help text. There it is. Where's the help text? We knew it had to have some. Rock, paper, scissors would otherwise be confusing. So there we go. Use that. Was there a cooldown on rock, paper, scissors? I don't remember there being one, so we're thinking no, there isn't. Hey, have you used Regex Buddy? Will Bennett, yes, I believe so. I actually used to work for a company called Regex Lib. The site still exists, actually. So I worked for this company for a while. Well, I should say the company that owned this website. It used to have a less nice little regex tester. So it's not recent. This is a long time ago. Yeah, I'm a big fan of regexes. You were thinking use regexes to find this stuff, cut it, and bring it over here? So no cooldown, everyone. There we go. Quiz command. It's enabled true. We'll take a look at the quiz command, and in here, no quiz help text yet. Alright, let's give it a shot. I'm going to get all these on their own line just so it's not confusing that way first. Okay, what is going on in chat? May I ask why you're not just serializing the command entity class rather than repeating nearly the same class in the web project? So Cryptic Enigma, the reason why is that they're not going to be exactly the same. Yes, Retro Bear, XKCD should be allowed. Whitelist XKCD. There we go, note made. Oh man, what do we want to do with this? These are all this line. So first things first, I'm going to take all these. Although I'm realizing I should have added a comma to the end of these instead. Except that last one. There we go. So we're going to say replace that. Gonna find it up there too, isn't it? We'll fix the ones up top. When it adds an extra one of those. There we go. Okay. Will it not reformat this for me? I thought it would just reformat this for me. Okay. There we go. Now I just need to put this with each one, and then we're basically where we were. So I'm going to go from that down to that line, and then I should be able to do, except I need to have a comma on the end. And a new line. So we're going to go from the end of this line up to there. There we go. That works. Cheating. Derp. Don't miss that line, Brendan. Don't misclick. So this is not as fast as it probably would be the other way, but then I'd have to figure that one out too. So, but yes, you're right, I needed to find a faster way to do it. Well, that's the one I don't want, so that one's already there. Good, okay. See... Fuel Snable. If you want to help me out with that, do me a favor and, oh, dang it, I don't have it in there. Thanks, Fuel Snable, yeah. C# regions, exactly. Thanks, Will Bennett. Glad you guys watched Paint Dry with me, that was fun. The exclude files to be deleted during .NET Core Web Publish in the pub XML file. ThinkBot Labs, I'm not sure on that one. So Fuel Snable, what I was going to ask you to do is head on over to GitHub, go to our Stream Info section, and put in a request for any of those various websites you think I should whitelist. So if there are a handful of comic websites, I wrote down XKCD, but if there are any others that you want me to make whitelist so you can link to in the chat, feel free. And for anyone who is wondering, this is the one that Fuel Snable was linking to earlier, or RetroBear was linking to, sorry. And Fuel Snable was suggesting other sites they should be linked to. So if people want to link to various relevant developer comic type stuff, then that is the place to do it. Just make sure that you keep it at least somewhat PG, and I say that because in order to not have to click the little checkbox that says there's mature content on this, we want to avoid that just so that Twitch never makes us check that box, because then people that visit our stream don't immediately get to see the content. They have to click through a warning saying they're okay with that, even if they've done it for other pages. The objectively best XKDC one is the boundary correlation versus causation. I don't remember that one, but I'm sure I've seen it before, Fuel Snable. Let's see, so help text on the quiz command. So quiz command, help text, no help text yet. Alright, so we'll leave it blank. Heist command. There we go. No help text yet. Heist command, that. And actually on the quiz command, did we have a cooldown? Time span, 2 minutes. That is a great question. And we now have to decide how we want to do these. So, rock, paper, scissors, we didn't put a cooldown on. The quiz command, we said a couple of minutes. So, maybe our cooldowns will be in seconds. So, heist command, how long is the cooldown on the heist? There isn't one. Okay. We will set it to 5 minutes by default. So that's what? 300 seconds? Everyone can play the heist game. Hangman. I think we actually have that one set to... Oh, that's set to everyone. Oh, because everyone can play, yes. So, cooldown, 10 minutes. Roll as everyone. I'm actually going to change it to 5 minutes. No, we'll leave it at 10 minutes. Which actually makes me want to change this one also. And the quiz game is going to go up to that same amount of time. So every 10 minutes we can play a game, unless a mod steps in and adjusts it. So here's the help text for Hangman. Let's move that in. No, I'm not going to bring in all these. Cryptic Enigma about serializing. I guess we could serialize it, but then we'd have to write it all as data anyway, so effectively doing the same thing, if that's what you mean. Because I think Cryptic Enigma asked about serializing? What did Cryptic Enigma... May I ask why you're not just serializing the command entity class? Oh, using that class rather than creating a nearly identical class. The reason why I was doing this one is that data wasn't going to be exactly the same, but I guess I could match that one. The problem is, I guess I don't want to serialize all the data, and I guess we could get away with not having all of it in there. I wasn't going to serialize the whole thing, but I guess we can. Is the short answer. And changing to a new data model is pretty easy once you actually have it all typed out like this. once you actually have it all in data of some form. Alias command. Why is this all separated like this? Grr. Arg. This is mod only. Alias. Mod. Help text. There we go. Blast command. Everyone and help text right here. That's interesting. I don't think you have to serialize the whole thing. Just seems weird to be repeating yourself in a session about not repeating yourself. And as repeats go, this seems a little Groundhog Day here. Yeah, I like Groundhog's Day. That's one of my Groundhog Day is one of my favorite movies. Okay, so yeah, so we'll adjust to match that then. Command entity. What's on command entity? Command word, full name, role required. Full type name is enabled, role required is enabled. We need cooldown and help text. Cooldown is a time span. Help text. I don't know how nicely that'll serialize with our numbers that we put in there, but we'll find out in a moment. So now that we have those, watch this magic. Boom. Done. So because we matched it anyway, it doesn't really make a big deal. That's how hard it is to switch. We're switched. Blast command, we have that. What's our cooldown on the blast command, I wonder? What is it, 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Three minutes. We can make it 3 minutes. Bonus command. You want it back to 2 minutes? It's back to 2 minutes. Alright, bonus command. There's our help text. There's definitely no cooldown on this. This is mod only. I should say mod or higher. The coins command. There we go. We will totally use that one. There we go. Coins command everybody can use, and there's no cooldown on it right now. The commands command. This really doesn't have help text? That's not very nice of me. Not very sporting. We let everybody run the commands command, though. Use this command to see available commands. mods can use it to make new commands using doot egg. There we go. What is this? I was just wondering because I thought I remembered saying wait, what? Why are we copying the help text? Fuel Snable, we're going to remove the help text from all the other places, so it's not going to live there. Could you default the role required to everyone so you only have to put the exceptions to that in your data? Same with cooldown. Yes, I can. And we will do that by going to the command entity. Cooldown and required role are going to get everyone. There we go. Defaulted. Kind of like is enabled is set to true. Let's get rid of is enabled. Derp, it didn't delete the whole thing. So I have to click that anyway because it left in the new lines. But I guess I could search for new line and replace new line with a single new line. I wonder if I could find that. We'll get to those ones in a minute. What is this? We don't need the extra commas at the end of those now if we don't have a role required. We don't need the everyone role required. We don't need that everyone role required. We don't need that everyone role required, or that one. Or that one, or that one. There we go. Good suggestion. Don't include it if we don't need it. Will Bennett? I think it will, and we will try to make it work. Because we want it to use those defaults. Give command, that should absolutely have help text. No one will know how to use the give command. Help text for the give command right there. Oh man, congratulations to LNG Grinds for being the one in there. This is an everyone, and there's no cooldown on giving people your tokens. Help command. There's no cooldown. Everyone's allowed to use the help command. And let's go see what is on help command. I think I've figured this out already. Oh man, that's good. Alright, let's do this. Help text, right here. Wow, I really tried to make this one smart, didn't I? One sec while I get rid of the pluses on this one. And then that to there. Use. We don't want primary command text. We want quote. Use quote number to get that. Let's replace this with quote in this entire document, please. There we go. Oh, it tried to help us. Thanks for trying to help, thing. Add, oh what a day, Renonius creates a new quote. Okay, there we go. I think that one's good. There's no cooldown, and I think this is mods only, right? No, it's just mods to create. Everyone can call it, so goodbye to that. There we go. Quotes command. No. In fact, I'm gonna nuke that thing. Schedule command. There's no cooldown on that. Everyone can use it. But it might need some help text, which I think we have. Right there. That's some good help text right there. Fantastic. Go us. Shout out command. That's another good one. We are almost done with these. Help text. Was there no help text? Nope, no help text. Shout out should be mod only. There's no cooldown on it. We can shout out as quickly as we want. Pretty much anything that's mod only is not going to have a cooldown because only the mods are running it anyway, and mods bypass cooldowns. So if it's mod only, we're not going to have a cooldown. And our help text is going to say use / shout out use exclamation point shout out DevChatter or exclamation point shout out DevChatter Okay, that's all the info we're going to put on that one. Streams command. This one, again with the little replacement text thingy that I was doing for a little bit there. I love the concept I was after. We may still find a way to do that in this data. Again, this is mod only. So mod or higher, so moderator or the streamer can use it. Let's replace this again. This time, we're going to replace it with streams command. Whoops, just streams. There we go. Streams and okay, tax command. And then we can get rid of all of this. Get rid of cooldown on everyone. Remove that. Because taxing is an unlimited command. Whoops. Taxing is a mod-only command. My mistake. I almost gave you guys access to the tax command. That would have been silly. But there is no cooldown, that's for sure. Top command should certainly be everybody, everyone. There's the help text. we not have a cooldown on that? We don't need this super often, so we'll at least put a 60-second cooldown so people aren't spamming it all the time. Uptime. And the nice thing about this is once we get all of these into this data, we can have anyone else can send us a pull request for what the default should be on this, and just make these adjustments for us. The uptime command, we're going to put a 60-second cooldown on that one also, and anyone can run it. Viewers command, I forgot we had a viewers command. That's funny. It's everyone, there's no help text. Shows the viewer count. Shows the current viewer count. We do want a cooldown on that, actually. Everyone can run it, though. Vote command, that's absolutely everyone. There's no cooldown on it. We didn't write any help text. This needs help text. And the dual command should be our last one, everybody. Now we can actually start putting this data into our database by deserializing this out of the JSON, and then we get to do the fun part, which is nuking this out of all the rest of our code. So we have moved data into a JSON file, and we get to pull this out of our code. And absolutely, I love the default values, because that reduces our amount of repeating code. Let's see, handle command, dual command. I don't see anything, so this is an everyone, no help text, no cooldown. So no help text, no cooldown, everyone can use it. Oops, let's nuke those. The dual command, use dual Brandonius to start a duel with Brandonius. Let's see, the duel will, once it begins, you will each be whispered instructions. Okay, there we go. So there's our help text. I think that'll work. Our cooldowns of 0 we don't need anymore, so let's get rid of cooldowns of 0. Cooldown of 0 goes away. Cooldown of 0 goes away. Role required everyone's go away. Everyone. And cooldown 0. Nope, we're out of them. Okay, perfect. So, now that we have that, this is what it deserializes, is this needs to be a list of these, right? List or an array of them. That'll be a command entity array of commands, so we can deserialize this. Those are the objects that come out of that data. I would like to see this working. I would like to see what it does. Let's see if we can't unit test this. So I think that's the best way to check it. Whoops. So we don't have that in there. Let's going to do this for now. I'm going to make a scratch folder down here. Oh, scratch testing. That's funny. I already have that. So let's open up scratch testing. Fact. Public void. Serialization test. Sourcefy, welcome. Thanks for following. Let's see. We want to deserialize this. I forget if we have any deserialization in here. I don't see anything. So let's go ahead and oops. Gone there. He did get rid of the .NET. We have standard, yeah? Yeah. He has versions for standard. Cool. Alright. JSON and JSON convert. I forget how you do this on this one. Deserialize object of type default command data. And what's he want? String value? So there we go. And this will get me back that object. This I want as a using. This needs to be our data from that file. So let's call this raw JSON. And then in here, we are going to do file.readAllText maybe. That file's not getting deployed, but what if I say copy if new or treat it as content? Then I think it's going to be in Scratch. And it's file reading, so it should be scratch back whack and then default command data .json, I think. Crossing my fingers here. I think that'll get it. Build the code, and I'm going to take a look at whether or not that actually went where we wanted it to, but we'll see. Okay, we got no errors, so I got everything wired up, it looks like. Assert not empty. Commands. Let's find out what happens. We're going to assert that that collection's not empty. It's not empty. Assert.commands.first. Well, here, let's just do this. I'm going to drop a breakpoint. Let's just take a look at the data. I think that's going to be better than, like, pulling out these tests, because we don't really need to test on this too much here. We should test this code elsewhere, not this. This is not really the test. This is just trying it a little. Let's clear out the watch variables. There are 22. Very nice. Looks like it's there. Okay, let's take a look. Expand this out. Did we get anything useful? We did get the help text. What's one that's... It's one that's mod only. Not coins. Not bonus. Bonus is mod only. Oh, role required everyone. So it didn't know what to do with required role. What did I call it? I might have flipped that. Was it required role or role required? Let's take a look. It was required role. Yep, backwards. Okay. Now cooldown I don't think it knew how to do because it didn't know how to pull that from seconds, so we're going to have to figure out how to tell... we have to tell the deserializer how to do that. So, let's debug this again. Okay. Expand that out. Coins, bonus, still says everyone. Okay, so that didn't come out nicely. It did not know how to translate that from the number to the text. So we're going to want to figure that one out. It could be that we have to put the full name in, actually. Let's try that real fast before we scrap this idea. User role.mod on the bonus command. Before we scrap this idea completely, we're just going to give that a shot, see what happens with it. So we're going to debug this again. Take a quick look at that data. So we're stopped right here. What was it? 7, 8, 7. Mod. Everyone. Okay, so it's still not getting it. And just as a test that it can get the false one. Is enabled. False. We're going to disable one. Once we get our set of data, we can write all these as individual tests to confirm that the JSON parsing works the way we want it to. Expand out the commands. Expand number 7 is enabled false. Yes! Alright, cool. So that one works. It's just our enum doesn't work right, and our cooldown timer doesn't work right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. C# serialize time span. How to serialize a time span JSON. What is it? Newton Soft. Ah, thank you, S&B. I will grab that. You call that a happy dance. These... You know, now that I think about it, I should just serialize a time span. Mod number 12, welcome. Does no one just show me what it looks like when it serializes it? Okay, JSON converter typo. Alright, so when we do this conversion, you are suggesting that we pass in a JSON converter, something like that? Or you're saying get myself a converter like this? Ah, there we go. Why is that yelling at me? Apt Fox, welcome. Oh! Decorate this class with it? This? Or the other one? I would like it if we could get away with decorating this one with it. Let's find out if it works, all of a sudden. We will debug this. If I can get away with it on that class, I'd much rather have it there. So we'll see what we get. Let's expand. Wait, what? Row. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. It got angry with us. When parsing enum. Yep, okay. It's got to be on the actual one if we want to do that. Okay, that's fine. We'll put it on the actual value. So here's the reason why I didn't necessarily want to put it on the command entity, because then we have to start putting it here on this, which I'm less happy about. But we'll see. By attribute, do you guys mean property? SNB and JStef, or am I totally derping on what you mean right now? The attribute, yeah, okay, so attribute should decorate the property. Okay. Good. Just making sure we're on the same page there. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, like, totally derping. Alright, everyone still for the bonus commands. It still didn't like it. Let's check one of the other ones. Nope, last command, alias command. Everyone. Nope, still setting them to everyone. Speech, attribute, property, whatever, they're all the same thing. Yeah, I thought that was going to work too, to be honest. Oh, right, I was going to do this. Hang on. Serialization test. Oh, that's the deserialization test. Derp. Deserialization test. I don't know if that's 1 or 2. So serialization test. I don't need to actually make this a string at all. I just need to have a breakpoint. Raw JSON. So I'm gonna say new command entity. This the help text. Cooldown equals time span from seconds, 120, and is enabled. No, is enabled works. Role required equals mod. Everything else should be good. We don't need anything else for that. So there is our command that we are going to store in a nice variable called command entity. And then I am going to say JSON convert serialize object command entity. I'm going to store that in a variable so that we can observe it. I'm going to drop a breakpoint right there and debug this little thing. Alright, Maybe you could try with JSON serializer settings class. Yeah, JSteph, I think we may end up having to do that. That was the other parameter we could pass when deserializing. So we'll take a look at that. So here's our serialized object. Let's see what it gave us. Command word, null, we didn't set it. That's fine. Alias is empty. It's enabled true. Role required. Okay, so it just wants the text mod, which I think is what we were doing. Cooldown. We can write it that way. We can totally write it that way if that's the way it wants it. So cooldowns, we can fix those to be just number of minutes like that. And mod apparently should have worked, it says. That's making me derpin' mad. So the is enabled stuff works. That was just supposed to be able to be mod. And those cooldowns need to change. That was a 2-minute cooldown. Cooldown. We're going to replace 60 seconds with 1 minute in this whole document, everywhere that appeared. And then all the 120s with 2 minutes in the current document. Replace. Any other ones? Oh, the 600s. 600s with 10 minutes. And any more of those anywhere that need to get fixed? I think that's all of them. There we go. Cool. Not bad. Not bad. Yes, Will Bennett. We are going to look at that on one of the streams. I'm not, as I mentioned, I'm not really trying to test this right now. But yes, you are correct. We should do this for the actual test. And hey, Wheelspin, welcome. Wheelspin, you're still in your egg? Oh, right. I think your previous. I think you subscribed more than once, but they didn't line up. It was a new sub when you did it. But welcome, hey. And Wheelspin, we haven't built our Wheelspin here on the channel, but we will at some point. This is the help text that mod. Okay, so we're going to run this one again. Debug that. We'll take a look at the data. Sorry, Janiscu. The bot's not running right now because it'd be getting so annoying with how many changes I'm making to it. So we're going to expand this out. Take a look at 7. Cooldown of 0. Oh, right, there's no cooldown on that one. Coins command, no cooldown. There's no cooldown. Blast command, that should have a cooldown. 2-minute cooldown, yes! Okay, so those are coming in. All that's not coming in right now is the role required. Well, that's annoying. And actually, now that I think about it, since we just have this in the test here, I don't need this many of them. At all. We just need like one with some time, and so foobar, a time, and command entity. Let me borrow this required role. So the first one is the one we're going to check. My English so good. Let me debug this and let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. I should take a look at that then. because that sounds nice. Foobar, no help text. True. Mod. Okay, so required role. I must have that typoed, because it worked there. Yep, I've got it typoed. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here, and we're going to say it was right to begin with. It's right over there. Okay. Replace the 120s with 02. Replace all. And the 60s with 1 minute. And I think that then is all the cooldown data fixed. There we go. Alright, so I think the real data is correct now. There we go. No more derping the derp. DKW Daft. We are currently setting up some default data to run to set up our bot. So anyone who grabs our bot and wants to use it, we are making sure that they get some nice default data and can work with it. Get rid of that. We're gonna want to take a look at the changes on this one. Jen's Duck, hey, welcome. Okay, so I actually think I want to get rid of those test bits that we put over here right now, so I'm gonna drop all those changes. I don't really want them right now. Set up database, we need to do that. So we added a couple of properties to that. Changed up how required role works. Default command object just to deal with the default data. And this is our actual default data in JSON format. And then we set up the database like that. There we go. Not bad. So, now that we've created that, I want to make sure that we pull that data out of that file, line it up here, and use it. So let's go ahead and get that on startup. So first off, I want to pull this out. I want to get this into its own file because setup database has a lot of stuff in it. We're at like 250 lines. That's way too big. Will you re-release this bot free like your first one? Jen's Duck, what do you mean? This code is all open source. Startup. Wait, there's already a start? What do you mean there's already a startup? Oh, there's a startup CS file. I can't make a folder called startup though? Oh, it doesn't like that name. Setup. Because we have a startup class, it doesn't like it. Okay. Are there multiple quiz questions in our... Really? That just seems unlikely. No, Jen's Duck. No, 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 no. We're making improvements to the bot. So my end goal on this bot is I would like this to be a project that more than one streamer is actually working on. So I would love it if there are a handful of coding streamers that are all making changes to this. Nice. Have a good one grabbing some beer there, Will. We'll see you back in a bit. My drink is not beer. Okay, so first thing, I think I can move these. Before we do that, so we're gonna say move setup database into setup folder. So I want to move this first. Now the reason I always do this, so you guys will notice I will often do renames and file moves as individual commits. The reason I do this, and before making any modifications, is that this makes it so it's really easy for Git to detect that this was a move or a rename, and not that I was actually making changes to files. So right now you'll notice it has it listed as creating this file and deleting this file. So by, hey Nate, thank you for the 2 months in a row of Twitch Prime. Alright, I am going to go ahead and commit this. So this does a rename. Yeah, so DevChatter hype. Thank you, SNB, for spamming some hype in there. If anybody else has those hype emotes, feel free to spam them in chat. Wait, what? What do you mean something has the lock file locked? That's... what? Oh, hey! It figured out it was a rename now. So it must have done that before it actually could make the change, so it must have tried to do the change. But I was actually just going to show you all in history that it was going to figure out that it was mostly a rename and just list the individual adjustments then. So this is way more valuable than seeing every line deleted, every file changed, every line created. And the reason it does that is that if it doesn't think they're close enough, it's going to change it. So I was about to steal like 30 lines of code out of it, and I was worried it might think that it was a different file because it might differ by enough. And so it could tell now that that was just a rename. So there we go. Excellent. Excellent. Perfect. Okay, so now inside of setup, I can do this. I'm going to make a new class. We may rename it, but we're going to call this default command data. Or setup command. It's going to be setup command data. Setup command data. Wait, what? Sure. Okay, so setup command data is going to need this code. And yes, I know these are just static methods, but one of the spots where you sort of run into this is in these kinds of little setup things. You're basically like, this is kind of like run once, non-maintain, just shove data in there. We do probably want to start getting some tests on this, make it a little bit more maintainable, because we are getting more data that needs to get set up in the advance, so this is becoming more of a piece of the bot, whereas in the beginning this was kind of like a, let's just make sure it doesn't fail at startup, but now we kind of want to actually have these be settings. So eventually we might get different packs, so maybe someone will create a set of defaults, for example, that are for different languages. So if you are not an English streamer, you might want to have the commands in another language, have the help text in a different language, and you could then just modify the default data set, and that's what comes up with all those default values. So that would be a nice approach to this. And when we get to that kind of complexity, we're going to want this to not just be static methods like these. So we'll refactor to that eventually. That's part of making the bot more user-friendly, which is one of the things we're working on. Genstuck, I kind of got a mini bot. That's my faux stack market. Faux stock? I don't know what you mean, Genstuck. So the nice thing is I am actually going to make this static, which is going to set off red flags to every developer. So the reason I'm making this static is because I want me, I want you, I want everybody to see this needs to get refactored. So when you do have something that needs fixing, make it obvious. Like, if you already know it needs fixing, but you don't have the time or whatever to do it at this moment, make it really, really clear. Oh, hey, that one needs to come out too. Come here, you. Which means that other one gets to be private again. Public. Private. So we will turn these into actual objects that are tested and used later. And Gunpart, yes, we will toss a to-do on this. To-do. We should make this a non-static testable bit of code before this is end-user ready. So right now, we're not making this end-user ready. We are getting this to the point where it is ready for other streamers to use it. So I know a couple of other streamers that are interested in being able to work on a bot project, and I suggested, like, hey, instead of starting yet another one, why don't we collaborate on this one, which is already pretty well structured and just needs a few, like, user-friendly bits to help you get started using it. So that's some of these changes we're making. Oh. You have 50 plus currencies. Genstuck, that is awesome. That is actually a really neat feature to have in a bot. I love it. Okay. Static update data command. We'll do that. So this is this class. And actually, you know what? Instead of putting it here, I'm going to put it in the place where we call it. So I'm going to say we should make this non-static testable. To do, remove static call so it's more testable. We'll say that. There we go. That's better. Everything should compile now, I think. And the nice part is this setup command data is going to be the only one that knows about our command data. Which maybe we'll need to change it now. We'll see. So this was just pulling it out into there. Setup command data. Those pieces are unneeded. Unnecessary. So we can move these two first also. So let's go ahead and say extracting set up command data to own class. So setup command data is in its own class now. Pepsi break emote. Well, there's only one problem with that, guys.
And is it true that you lost your Pepsi endorsement?
I hadn't heard that.
Okay. Sorry about that quick Pepsi interruption there. Get command word changes. So this gets all the data, that gets all the commands, it gets all the assemblies, that's all the command types. Hey, Cookiebo, welcome. This thing's like gil gained when I stream Final Fantasy and others. Oh, Genstuck, that's awesome! I love it! That's actually a really neat way to do it, so the currencies are tied to which game you play. That is really cool. So, one of the things that I will mention, what we're trying to build this as is we're trying to build the bot such that we can accept modules. So essentially, like, if you want to add a feature to the bot that's non-standard, so something like that for like people that game, so for variety streamers basically, where you want to have a variety of different currencies because you play a lot of different games, you want to do that kind of thing, then we could add something like that as a module. Obviously, if you don't want to add that as a module, you want to keep that as your own feature, then do that. But I figured I would mention it. So we want to get... what is that object we created? Default command data. So default command data. Data. Default data equals. Not that. JSON convert dot deserialize object var, put the type on the same line, put that as a string, get this string, we'll call this raw JSON, and this is going to be file dot. And Cookie, welcome. Thanks for following. Yep, that's the one we want. Read all text. Alright, where is this going to be? We put this data in here, so it's going to be in default data \, and we're going to want to configure this somewhere. Move this to a config file. So we'll set that up in a config file in a little bit. Oh, yeah. Jen Stuck, what's it written in? Is it C#? If it is, we could definitely work on getting that as a module at some point, and it would probably move in pretty easily. Okay, so this needs to be set up to copy, if newer, its content, because it's just JSON data. I think we need it to copy. I'm not 100% on that, but I think we do, in order to reference it this way. Default command data. So that's raw JSON. We're going to convert it. This should absolutely be a method. Extract method. It's going to be called get default data. Derp. It didn't actually pull the thing out. Of course it didn't. It's not a static that, it's this. Return. There we go. Default command data, command data. There we go. Okay. Got it. Oh, thanks, Jen's Duck. Much appreciated. Yeah, so, if I haven't mentioned it to anybody, we do have links for this stuff down below, but we have a Discord, Cookie Bow, if you are interested in chatting with any of us outside the stream. I don't, Jen's Duck, are you in there? I don't know if you're in the Discord. But there's a lot of good stuff down there. A lot of good stuff in the Discord. Lots of stuff down in the panels below the streams, so make sure you check those out. Yeah, so I don't have the bot running right now because we're messing... Whenever I'm editing things in the setup files and everything like that, because I'm constantly making changes to the code and saving, the bot just constantly reconnects, and it's like, oh yeah, let me reconnect, and it gets really annoying. So I turned the bot off for this. How did you manage that the starting point of a relative path is not beneath bin? Wait, what do you mean, Gunbert? It is inside the bin. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were in there, Genstuck. Not that anybody has to join the Discord, but I recommend it to anybody that is interested in doing any kind of collaborative stuff with anyone else on the stream ever, whether it be me or someone else here. So that is our default command data. So let's say we pulled command entities, didn't we? So, I want to do this differently. Here's what we're going to do. Select command type. Hang on one sec. Sorry about that. Hey, lucky number 7. Hey, welcome. Glad you made it. Usually the file path starts where the exe is. Oh, so Gunbird, that file path is going to start where it is. No, Will Bennett, it's not. It's not Catfur. We are changing seasons here. We're starting to get into fall. This is our first day where the temperature is not, well, I apologize to everybody in Europe because I'm going to use Fahrenheit. It has been in the 80s, high 80s some days, and we are finally down into the 60s, so it's quite nice in some ways. Okay, so command type equals, now I want to say default, didn't I call it default data? No, I just called it command data. Command data, so we're going to change up how this works. So we're going to kind of line these up a little bit. Singular default, where x dot full type name equals command type dot full name. Uh, 16C. Thank you, Nate. Well, Bennett, that's funny. Where were you in the Midwest? Let's say, or new command entity. Let's not return that just yet. So we're gonna return entity. Nope, just entity is the name. This is going to be var entity, so that we can do. Wait, what? What? Oh, equals sign, Brendan. That tends to help. All right. Entity equals entity dot command word equals that text I had on the clipboard. There we go. So now this whole piece right here, I want to convert this to something. Nope, not to an anonymous method. To local function. That sounds nice. Selector? Selector? Really? I want to call this select. We are going to say command entity from type and what's the other thing we were accessing? Command data. Command entity from type and default data. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Chicago and Milwaukee. Oh, okay. So yes, other cold, snowy places near lakes. Very nice, because there's a lot more to the Midwest than just the Great Lakes area. So you were absolutely Great Lakes area. That's fun. Lichen. Yeah. See. Yeah, I like snow and things like that. Okay, so I think, crossing my fingers here, I think this is gonna work. Let's go ahead and give this code a run. Make sure nothing breaks. So we'll find out. We might get an error message. Right now, this should practically no op, because there should not be any missing pieces. Derp. Ah, see, there you go. Yeah, some people... The thing is, it's not so bad to drive in the snow. But I actually like spending time in the snow. It is enjoyable. Occasionally. As long as you can leave the snow and get into a nice warm place. Okay. The name default command data does not exist in... that's not what I want. SQL client invalid column name cooldown. Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, no, we didn't create that yet. My bad, it's right. Yes, Will Bennett, that's true, that's true. It is always the other cars that are that are the problems. And we mean that not in a way of like saying, oh, everybody else is a terrible driver, I'm the best driver. That's not what we mean. The problem is, if anybody messes up, it can get anybody. So that's why you have to be cautious about it. So app data context, we're going to go over here. We're adding a piece to that, so shouldn't matter. So we're going to do this, open up the package manager console. I'm going to make sure you all can see what I'm typing, so I'm expanding this console up to the top of the screen. And as usual, I'm going to do an add migration, and my normal thing, I always do add migration test. And test is actually going to be the name of this migration because I'm going to throw it out. And then I need to specify the project name where we keep our data models. So we're going to specify that and go ahead and hit enter there. And this ought to run, as I said, we're going to throw out this code, so we're not going to worry about it too much. So that should have created what we wanted. This added cooldowns. Default value is an empty time span. Nice. Command words. Nullable. Help text. Looks good. String. Time span. Perfect. And dropping them. Okay, so as I said, I am going to discard that change. So that's this one through this one. Discard all three of those. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing again. But this time, when I write it, I'm going to give it a better name. So instead of calling it test, we're going to say add cooldown and help text columns. Are we programming a driverless car? Nate, no. Although, a bunch of years ago, I'm talking like 10 years ago or so, Microsoft was really pushing to try and get developers in the community using some of their like robotics AI type programming stuff to try and design driverless car tech stuff. So they were basically going to the community and being like, hey, we have these cool libraries and stuff. We're opening up to anybody, and they did some kind of competition about who could do the best stuff, which obviously at best gets you a starting point. But very, very cool concept. I love it when companies do that kind of thing. Let's see. So I think that'll work. Let's go ahead and do this. Now remember, my bot will automatically apply database changes when I run it, so we're not going to have to do anything special. So this runs. The code in theory works. I have not tested to make sure that that database actually gets populated with the defaults that we suggested we needed, but I have a way of getting that in there. I'm going to delete a row and watch it get recreated and see what it puts in there. So here we go. I'm actually going to push those changes, and these are we don't need that change yet. 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 These are the database and the entity changes. So that's adding the columns. Add help text and cooldown to command entity. So that's what that is. And then these are actually applying the defaults. Let me catch up on chat real quick. I haven't seen him do any AI yet. Well, Bennett, we're going to do some AI at some point, because I do want to do some game stuff. So we're definitely going to have to get into AI, even if it's just some of the simple games. But we will definitely do that. That was actually one of my favorite things that I ever... So when I went to college, what seems like forever ago now, the favorite thing that I did while I was there was my AI courses. I greatly enjoyed those. Used to live in Germany. You preferred it to Chicago and Milwaukee. Honestly, I wanted Milwaukee, but because the weather, it's not cold here, but it's dark during the winter. Oh yeah. A lot of people don't mind. So I don't mind the cold at all. I have no problem with cold. There's some of the things that occasionally come along with it, like it being dark all the time. That one bugs me a little bit. Alright, let's give this a test. Test. So dual command should get recreate. Oh, this needs to refresh. This view is wrong. There we go. Help text and cooldown. Alright, so let's delete the dual command. Since I know there are no aliases on this. So now when I restart the bot, I'm going to kill it and restart it. Oh, yeah, so Feel Snable. F-sharp Fridays, interestingly, was a thing I planned to do back in, like, 2015. So I should tell you guys all the segments that I had planned when I first was planning out this stream. I don't know if I told you. So I started the stream this year, but I started planning it back in 2015. So this was a long time coming, so I was happy when I was able to do it. What just happened? View details. What broke? Cannot insert null. What did I try to insert null into? Which thing? Full type name. What? Oh! Oh, it didn't find it. Oh, man. Crap. I think I know what happened. Here's what happened when I did this or get a new command thing. So it did not find it in the data. It should have found it, but it apparently didn't. It apparently said there wasn't one. So I'm going to debug this so that we can get a breakpoint in here. Oh, yeah. So that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize is there are certain things that you do in programming that work much better in different types of languages. So some things work really well in object-oriented languages, some work really well in functional languages, some things work well in logical languages. It depends on what you're trying to build. And And even among those, our languages have started blurring lines so much anymore because they're adding in different concepts from other types of programming. So it's very, very fun. So we need full type name equals command type. Anyway, I'm going to toss a breakpoint there, and we're going to watch what happens. Yep. Pattern matching. Exactly, Fuel Snable. I love me some pattern matching. Oh, I see the problem. Hang on. We did this backwards. We want to do the filtering before we do the select. So that ought to solve the problem. That way we only call this. We only even bother creating the object when we needed to. Now. Hiloja. So pattern matching does some really amazing stuff because you're able to essentially just grab objects based on type and manipulate them. And it's not just based on type. You get a variety of filters as well. So there's a lot of control, a lot of powerful stuff you can do with them. And it's implemented very well. Plus, it is beautiful that you can use the same things as you construction if I wanted to learn red black trees and min max heaps. Doing graphics to display the trees, which is why I'm doing it in C#. Oh, that's very cool, Will Bennett. I have not messed with any of that stuff, I don't think, since I was in college. So that has been quite a while now. But was always fun. Ooh, I never even hit that. Let's take a look in the data. Data. Refresh. Dual is right there. Oh, and it's got a command even. Nice. Roll required is 4. That could be accurate. What's that? Vote? We'll delete that one as well. Let's stop the bot and restart it. Just to see what happens. Yes, J-Steph, I am planning on looking into some game programming. So there's actually 2 types of game programming that I'm thinking about doing here on the stream. 2 things. And that's also part of the reason why I'm trying to get this bot to be more user-friendly, is I would like to make it so that we only work on the bot 1 day a week. So in order to do that, I need to get it to the point where we can have more than one person developing it. So I don't want to be the only developer working on this project. I would love to be, like, say, one of 4 developers working on it. So command type, this should be the voting one. It is. Perfect. Commands. Not going to find it in there, but if we look at the entity that came out, we'll see help text. This needs help text. That was not the default. That came out of the database, or that came out of our default data. So that is perfect. So then we come down here. We assign the command word, and it definitely has the full type name. Yes, it does. And it runs. Everything's perfect. Good. There we go. Okay. One thing that's great about pattern matching when it comes to the tree tree construction is that you can only see the subnodes that you wish to access, eliminating a class of errors in addition to simplifies matching complex subtree patterns. So you did black trees underneath. Oh yeah, Will Bennett. So that's actually, you hit on one of the big points that a lot of developers need to understand about things, especially as they're starting out their career, is there are a lot of things that we study when we study computer science and programming, and a lot of these concepts are used in the underlying libraries that we're working with. And that's one reason why it's important to understand it, is so that you actually have an idea of what a lot of the code is doing underneath the hood. So for example, you don't need to use pointers in order to understand how to use C#, for example. You can use C# just fine without understanding any of the concept of pointers. But knowing how they work helps you to write better C# code. So knowing what things are doing on underneath the surface is very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the bot, because we don't need that executing like that. But now I think that default text is going to work, so that is pretty good. So pull default command data from file. So we're going to do that, and now that we have that, we can do this. When we create the objects and we get it started up, we want that data to come out of the database. So let's go ahead and take a look at our base command. And where do we use the command entity? Refresh command words. What does this do? This grabs the command data. So here's what I want to do. We're going to remove this. And instead of refresh command words, I'm going to say refresh command data. Refresh command data. Okay, I'm not super keen on that, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Let's grab these three. And at the bottom of this, so we're going to make that void. Void, do that. Run this here. So that's not read-only anymore. But we're going to make it a private setter still. Is enabled. We set that to... Maybe we should just debate whether or not we even create it if it's like that, huh? Okay, so we were returning... That's the command. That's the command. So command info is what we set to the command words, right? There we go. And then the command dot required role command dot is enabled. There we go. So the nice thing is now if this data gets updated, we can trigger this method and it will refresh this on the command. So was modified, we don't need to do that, we just need to call that now. Oh, refresh command data. Sorry, I renamed it derp, but it was private, so there we go. Now, everybody has this user role everyone that we repeated everywhere. Nope, don't need those anymore. Time to remove totally irrelevant code from all across the application. Which actually, now that I think about it, I should be doing this. I should be searching for this exact code and replacing it with this code. And I should do that by doing this. Control-Shift-F. And tell it I want to do a replace, and that's the text I want to replace. Entire solution, replace all. 14 occurrences. So now the ones that say mod, we don't need that anymore. We should be moving that to the right place. And I'm gonna have to set my data accordingly also. So we're gonna update mine. Okay, there we go. Gunpert, have a good one. Sorry I missed your message. Hopefully you didn't take off, but take care. Thanks for hanging out here. Whenever I look at the occupation of batteries, it just seems like it's problem solved because hello, Jay. Yeah, so if you're not following polymorphism, it's definitely a problem. But generally, you run into that where there's a spot where you're not able to use polymorphism yet, and pattern matching is the way that you get to that. As Malachi points out, it's very useful for the team that creates the compiler for C#, more so than it is for the rest of us. There are a couple of points that it is extremely useful, though, because we do run into some of that at different points in our language. So okay, anyway, base constructor, let's get rid of these. Is that all of them? Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at our data, because I need to update this now. Before I do this, let me take a look at the aliases. How many aliases do I have that I need to fix? Because if it's not a huge deal, I think I can wire these up myself. Okay, we're going to do this by hand, everybody. Because it's a quick change. We're the only ones that this is going to affect. So I'm going to delete all of those rows. What? Why did that not work? Oh, because I need to delete the aliases if I'm going to do that, because there are actual references to them. Okay. Set up command data. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to temporarily do this. Update command data. We are going to say command entities. I'm going to throw a breakpoint here. We're going to say... Actually, let's not do this here. Yes, we're in this spot. Those are the we don't need the... We just need command data. Where's default data? Command data, command entities, right there. For each command entity, command entity dot role required equals this is going to be command data dot single commands single x dot full type name equals command entity dot full type name. Okay, so we're gonna match those. Get me the one. So there's our single object. role required equals that dot required role. So that is enabled, which shouldn't change. Help text shouldn't change. Role required and cooldown. 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 There we go. And then after we're done with that, we want to say repository dot guess we could do a repository.update on each one, although we don't need to do that. Technically speaking, of course. Grant, sorry, I don't have the bot running right now. We're about to do a quick test of some of this code. So when I do this, it's going to be running again. Let me see. Why is pattern matching good for people who write the compiler? Example. It would be nice if it did run. Show me a bit. Okay. We have been streaming for 2 hours 20 minutes. That's about our uptime. Once this runs, we'll get the bot going. I am trying to update some of our data in the database for our default values. So let's see what happens. So we grab the command entity. It is rock, paper, scissors. Uh-ohs. Derp. Let's see what we got. What happened? Let's try that again. But with more feeling this time. Yep, sorry, uptime command's not running because the bot's not running. What error did we run into? Sequence contained no matching element. For which one were we trying to get? Line 64. Command entity dot command word. So rock, paper, scissors. Okay, we have that one. Quiz, we have heist, we have hangman, alias, blast, bonus, coins, command, give, help, quote. Refresh command list breaks. We don't have that one. I didn't include it in the list. So let's go ahead and do this. Command words. View data. Where's the refresh command list? Oh, it was the next one on the list, so of course it would be that one. So I could have just looked there. I have an alias on this? Are you kidding me? What alias do I have on that? Refresh. Well, that's pointless. There we go. Let's try running this again. Yep, sorry, Janiscu. One sec. One sec. Let's run it again, see if it works this time. Command entities. Boom. Quiz, heist, hangman, alias, blast, bonus, coins, commands, give, help, quote, schedule, shoutout, streams, tax. Nice. Perfect. Worked great this time. Fuel Snable, we're not really doing that. Oh, that? Oh, pfft. View data. Refresh command. It added back in. There was no thing for it. 4 is everyone. This is what we're deleting. So if we take a look at these changes, we have deleting data in all of these places. Check out the base command in a minute. Okay, base command, what changed? We removed that stuff and we moved that into there. Okay, cool. Remove, oh, I need to get rid of all the help text also. I almost forgot about that. Base command, help text needs to get set when we do that also. Refresh command data, help text equals command dot help text. We're going to make that a private setter, and so now all of a sudden all the other code is going to break. Wait, what's going on? Wait, what now? Hang on, wait. I'm triggered by the second. Will Bennett. Oh, I'm watching that one. Thought you were talking about another link. Build your own Excel 365 in an hour with F#. That sounds fun. F# for Fun and Profit is a great site. Good reads. Oh, yes. I am planning on talking with that guy. Yep. Fuel Snable, Will Bennett. Yes, that's absolutely on the list. So, yep, on it. Don't worry. We're doing it. Alright, so getting rid of that. Getting rid of that. We can get rid of the cooldown. Actually, ooh, let's make sure the cooldowns can't get set elsewhere too. Private set. We're gonna get rid of those from all the places. Cooldown. I didn't set it here. We'll set it here too then. Cooldown. Cooldown. Perfect. Alright, let's go see all the places that break and fix them. Yep. On the list. I'm planning on doing it. It sounds really fun, so on the list. Hang on while I delete code that we don't need. I love deleting code, it's great. Because we have moved code from here into a place that makes sense. Deleting more code. Deleting more code. Each one of these gets nuked. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Goodbye. You're gone. You have no power here anymore. Go. Take your cooldown and help text and leave. There we go. It's glorious. All of those classes so much nicer. Love it. Malachi. Oh. Yes, so, well, I mean, I can't say that he's coming, but we're going to invite him, so hopefully he will want to join us. You need to do a big promotion, advertise on all the networks, make sure he likes cats. Don't want him sneezing. Yeah, that's true, Will Bennett, because we might have to pick up a cat during the stream. Alright, let's see, close all that stuff. Looking at the code. Delete, 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 delete. That is much nicer. I like it a lot. Cleaned up, cleaned up, cleaned up, cleaned up. Just deleting all the things, I think. Just scanning through this to make sure we didn't do anything that I didn't want to do. Alright, that looks good. Set help text cooldown. Enabled. One of the other ones. And roll. Set those from the database. So we're going to commit that. Let's give this a try, everybody. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and debug this. And then I am going to do a quick shout out here. And now that the bot is here, I want to shout out DevChatter. So if someone else can do me a favor and try to do a shout out DevChatter, someone preferably that's not a moderator here on the channel. So do that same command that I just typed in. I want to see if it works. Make sure that we're locked down. Oh, yep, see? Perfect. Okay, so those kinds of things are still... I just wanted to make sure that it worked at all. Hey, Mike, thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for testing to make sure that those are still working. So, my thought there is if it wired up at all, we probably got it, and I'll have to review those settings to make sure I didn't miss any at some point. So, let's get that pushed up. That is much cleaner and nicer than it was. I am happy about that change. Okay. So I told you guys I was going to do it, and I am going to do it. Atomic Code Similarity Finder. Which was apparently at getatomic.com. There are plenty of other tools that do basically the same concept. I was just going to grab this one because I know it, and it's got some cool graphics that I like, and you know, we're here on a stream, so we get to see videos, so why not grab one that's got cool graphics? I have not used this in a long time, so I don't know if it works all that well, but we're going to give it a try anyway. Derp. Someone moved it. So apparently we can't download it by clicking that link, huh? You don't have a download anymore. I'm going to yell at the owner of it. Because I know who makes this. Let's see. Atomic Code Duplication Finder. There are a whole bunch of these. Come on. Dupe Finder? Well, we'll try it. I haven't tried theirs. They have a command line tool? I had no idea. How do I use their command line tools? Do they have a link to it in here? That's a good question. Copy-paste detector. Looks like there are some things that do it. Detect, duplicate, code, Visual Studio. I don't remember there being one built in. Yeah, I don't remember there being one built in, but maybe there are. Maybe you're right. They have all kinds of stuff. Ooh, it says Visual Studio Enterprise. Yeah, see, I might have to switch to Enterprise on here. Analyze menu, analyze solution for code clones. Well, let's run this. It's gonna have more stuff than I think we want. So we'll take a look. If I need to, I'll just install Enterprise and we'll take a look at it on the Monday stream. So I don't think I don't remember what's on the Monday stream, but I don't think I've got anything scheduled for it. Watch, it's gonna be like a guest that we have on stream on Monday. Nope. Oh, geez, I need to update these because we're on this date. Derp. Monday is nothing special, but next Saturday we're going to have Mike Eaton join us. I should mention that. He's in the channel right now. Gary the Bear, I don't know. We can ask questions and chat about stuff in the chat if you like. I think we just install it through Visual Studio Installer. I will take a look. Oh, you're talking about Enterprise. Yeah, I can install Enterprise through there. Yeah, Mike, I think we were choosing a topic still. We figured out the date, but we don't have the topic. Yeah, we could talk about pattern matching in C#, actually. There's some interesting stuff related to that. Yeah, you started a new job. That's always fun. And by fun, I mean challenging, but fun, still the same. Hey, Daniel, welcome. Alright, so this code runs... did that analysis actually do anything? It ran, but I didn't see its results. Am I just, like, totally missing where these results appeared somewhere? I'm not blind, am I? No. No, wasn't there. Weird. Alright, well, we will get everything set up to take a look at that on the next stream. So on Monday, we will have that set up, and we will take a look at code duplication around our code, because I know we've got some spots where we've got some duplication that we need to clean up. So we will take a look at that. You could modify the current Visual Studio and to install individual components. Visual Studio installer. Whoops, sorry guys. Didn't mean to like blank your screen there on you there for a second. You're talking about in here, because I could install Enterprise. That'd be pretty easy to do. But you're saying that I can modify this to yeah, I only run Professional because I know a lot of people don't have Enterprise, and so on my laptop that I give presentations with, I actually only have Community Edition installed because I want to make sure that what I'm showing people is the bare bones, like everybody's got these features. But here, because we're doing so much live development, I wanted to have Professional running so that I had, you know, some better stuff. But I didn't run Enterprise because I know some people don't have access to it. Okay, so... You're thinking there's some kind of a thing in here? Individual components for something? Codine, welcome. Thanks for following. Will Bennett, you don't have Enterprise anymore. Yeah. That's just I get for Windows. GitHub extension Visual Studio. No, thank you. Yeah, exactly, Will Bennett. Community, the challenge is you don't even get code lens out of the box with that one. That's languages and runtimes development activities. Yeah, I gotta install some of this stuff at some point. I didn't see the one. Does Ryder have one? Hiloja, yeah, we've got Ryder here on this computer. We have used it before. And yeah, VS Code doesn't have Code Rush. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That is correct. So I don't see it here. Which is a bummer. So I will either install Enterprise and take a look at that, or we'll just grab one of the other tools. There are a bunch of similarity finders out there. Actually, I'm going to go grab one. Simeon. That's one I've heard of before. Yeah. Get it now. This is non-commercial use. How do I get it for Windows? Guys, is there like a .NET C# version? Don't know. What are the other ones? Yeah, J-Steph, I was pretty sure it would work. I don't know why it didn't run on mine right now. Official website. Yeah. We'll take a look at it. We'll find one. We'll make it work. Anyway, other stuff to mention. So, for anyone who doesn't know, is our bot running right now? Let me get the bot running, because the bot's not running. There we go. Okay, so for anyone who hasn't yet, I recommend checking out our Discord. It's available. Thanks, Hiloja. And it lets you join anyway. That was silly. I think it didn't start it, but it added you to the crew? I don't know. That was a good question. So I think you've joined the crew as a thug, and the game just hasn't started yet, so when a game starts, you'll already be on the crew, I think is what'll happen. Maybe? We'll find out. Anyway, for anyone who hasn't, check out our Discord. Hiloja, I forget what the thug's name was. Might have been Hitter? I don't know. Anyway, so check out our Discord if you're interested in chatting with any of us outside the stream. It's one of the best places to chat with any of us, so especially if you wanted to do any kind of contributions to any of our projects, that is the best place to do it. If you want to contribute to one of our projects, you should take a look. Their code is all out on GitHub, including the stuff we were doing today. All of that has actually already been pushed out, so it is live and running. Not there. Where is it? It is out here. And you will see that I can create a pull request for this new data. And I'm going to fix whatever that test is, because I didn't take a look at those after sending this in. Adding command, storing command data in the database. So we're going to store all kinds of command data in there, including things like all the default messages and stuff like that it spits out, because we want to get all the text out of here. So we either need to get that here or into resource files or something like that. possibly a combination of the two. The nice thing about having it in the database is it's super easy for us to modify that at runtime. So we can have our website add that. So we also want to get our scaffolded pages for our website so we can modify all this data that we're now putting into the database so that no one has to go and open up the SQL Server actual data table like what I just did. So we're going to add some pages for editing that data. Let's go ahead and run the tests because we know there are some failing tests. So let's clean that up while we're thinking about it. We can talk about some other stuff while we do because I'm hoping they're easy to fix. But we'll see. Yes, command data store. And yes, Haloja, you are correct. We had called our thugs a hitter, which is mostly a fine name. Execute, save alias given. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Okay, what failed here, guys? Add alias operation on line 60. Aliases was an empty collection. Wait a minute. What? That's it. No, it makes it a new list. What happened? Command entity was in that. That was empty. One of those was null. That didn't come out of the database. I bet that's the problem. Word and new alias. Okay. It can't tell them apart. So existing word and new alias. Since we pulled them out the same way. Echo Strike, you made it! When's the COBOL stream starting? Yeah, clearly it's C, C++, C Sharp, COBOL, all the good stuff. All the best languages start with the letter C. That's how it works. C hashtag, yep, C hashtag, we like that one. C pound sign, C pound. Returns null as command entity. I think we're hitting that one. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say this raises the next event, which is right here. No, that's the actual repo. We don't want that. Actual, and we're going to say mock repo that. So here's the plan. I want this to not even set up the second call until this happens. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I think it might fix the test. We're going to run that and see if it fixes the test. Crossing fingers. Let's find out. Nope. So it didn't like what I did there. That's fine. How do I get around that nicely? Check for existing. Switching them shouldn't work. Because I don't think it's a stack. So, no, we are fixing a test right now. So we are coding our C# bot right now, and we just have a test that we borked at some point while making these changes, and we need to get this one fixed. It's just a silly thing with it. Malachi, the problem, I know where it fails. That's the problem. I can show you what's happening. So I'm like 90% sure, but I will follow along just to be certain that we are right about it. So we'll debug that test. When we get to this point, I believe we're getting a null back on both of these instead of just one, but we'll confirm. Null and null, yeah. So we were supposed to get a specific object here, and we didn't, and then we're supposed to get a null back here. And so that's the problem. I need a way to tell my command policies apart, which I don't have a great way to do. Let me try this. I might be insane, but we're gonna find out what happens. We are gonna add the equality members. It's going to be based on those. Now, I don't know if this is actually going to work. Fields can be null. Yes, they can. No, these fields will never be null. So we're going to take all this code it just created. We're going to put this at the bottom of the file, because we want to hide this stuff. That is awful. We're going to end region, and we are going to put a start region on it. Right up here. Region, and oh, it put a thing. Thanks for putting the end on there. I totally wanted that. How did you know? This is not my region, this is equality. Operations. So how did it do it? Criteria equals other criteria. So this is comparing that an expression equals another expression? I'm not sure. Test breaking development. Thanks, Echo Strike. Yeah. So let's say command policy dot by type. Oh, sorry, by word, and that's the word. Where did the word come from? New alias, that's the one. I don't know if this is going to work, just so you know. Command policy dot by word and existing word. New alias. There's the second argument. Oh, this is new alias, sorry. Foo is the current one. Current word. So when we look for foo, we want to find that. When we look for that, we want to find that. Oh, yeah, Ed, yeah, no, I do have Enterprise. We covered that earlier. People were asking about some features. I don't actually run Enterprise, but I do have access to it. So, they give it to me for free also, Ed. Yeah, so I do not have live unit testing running. We're not running. This is in we're in professional, not in enterprise. So yeah. Personal favorite TV. Yes. Yep. It is true. It's way too expensive to run enterprise if you don't have it. Yeah, basically, the tests are just always run every single time whenever you're doing anything. So you don't actually have to click a command; it's just always running the tests. It's really, really amazing. Live unit testing, it's very good. Derp. All right, we're gonna take a look because there were 2 tests failing. I'm gonna go take a look at the other one first. What is this? Expected false, actual true. Not call process on command when disabled. Fake command disabled. Expected false was true. Process was called, so it actually called it. This is part of command handler testing. Now let's find out what happened. So we can fix this one. We apparently borked something somewhere in this when we were changing all this stuff. That's our command handler, and this is where it should run. Let's go in here, command handler, get the args. That gets us our fake command. It's not null. We come down here. Why was it supposed to not run? It's supposed to be disabled. Ooh, it's not disabled anymore. I know exactly why that's not working. We pulled in that property and we did not actually fix this. So, how do we set that to disabled? We need to change the repository to tell it that it was. It's a base command. So let's do this. It's test repository. Derp, nope, I don't want to get test repository. Why was I doing that? Turns command word entities. Is enabled equals true. We're going to make this a parameter of it. So now in this one, we want that to be false. There we go. Now when we run this one, I think this test will pass. Rubus61, welcome, thanks for following. And Amit, if I didn't mention it, thanks for following as well. Let me see what's going on in chat. Not just save energy edit. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's very, very nice. And yes, you're getting visualization in the editor, so it's actually giving you feedback while you write. It's very cool. A bunch of check marks, extra lines of code, so you know which one's causing the test to fail. Yep. Yep, it's very cool. If you guys pressure me into it, I might actually eventually switch to using Enterprise Visual Studio at some point. I was tempted to install it recently because I wanted to get some other features from it. It's one of those... I see some good reasons to install it because it is a very nice piece of software, but I worry because of the fact that I don't want to be showing a bunch of stuff that everybody else doesn't have access to. I'm going to step in there, we're going to step in here. Let's see what we get. Is that our bot command? Is it disabled? Is enabled. True! What? No! No! False! False! Lies! Alright, hang on. Base repository. Well, it seriously is the point, Echo Strike. Like, if I just, like... Because I could come out here and be like, yeah, I get, like, all this free stuff that no one else has access to, and... I mean, well, that's kind of cool. I could show you that neat stuff, but, you know, I'm not trying to sell you guys these things. So... Why was is enabled true? Why was is enabled true? When it is any one of those, return back this object. Is enabled should equal false. Lies! Lies, I tell you! It did not find it, so it gave us back the default entity. What did we call? We called repository single on command policy. It came back with nothing, and so we got a command entity. What were we trying to do? List. Single. There's the problem. Got it. That's why it broke. I found the problem. Command entity. There we go. That ought to fix it. Clear out them breakpoints. Boom. Alright. The Vim plugin for Visual Studio is really good. Oh, good. Malachi. Yeah, I hope we... I would not complain about a some kind of sponsorship, but we'll see. Let's see. Pac-Man Jr. I wouldn't use Enterprise Edition. Nice to see something I can use. Yes, exactly, Pac-Man Jr. That's the point. So I use Professional Edition here, which... I get that not everybody can use Professional Edition, but I'm doing a lot of coding, so I want to at least be able to take advantage of those. So when I do presentations at events and things like that, what I actually do is on my presentation laptop, I actually run Community Edition only, And the reason being that when you go to a big event, a conference, thing like that, people in the audience, they might have you know, they might have professional or enterprise, but everybody's got community if they want it. Malachi mainly like Code Lens and things like that, but yeah, basically Code Lens. And I like Code Lens, it's nice. Hang on, so you asked, I see a question in chat about how I renamed entities to entity without typing it, which is a great question. I did that using one of the tools that I'm running here, which I wish I could remember where I left that. That was in this one, down here. So this code did say this, and all I did was I hit F2, which is a rename, and it gave me some options. This is actually ReSharper, I believe, that's figuring out what name suggestions I want here. And so a lot of its guesses are based on, so like word entities, you'll notice is just trimming off the first part. It said like command word entities, tried chopping that off. Value, I think it just said because that's a standard thing it could always say. Entity, again, that's the last word of the command entity type. Entities being the last word of what I have here, and command entity being obviously the type I'm changing to. So that's all I did to change it, was choose that out of the list. So ReSharper gave me that one. It's good at guessing what word I might want. So let me try running all the unit tests again. We'll see if that one still failed. It may have. Yeah, so that's one of the things. I'm like, I love how smart they got, and they've had that for years now, but I love how smart they got about, you know, guessing the name that I would want. Okay, so this is, I'm not going to commit that yet. Try execute should, we're not going to commit that one yet. This one, however, removing that. This didn't use fake command, did it? No, it didn't. So it's just this one. So fix up command handler tests. Fix command handler tests. And the other one is the weird one. So let's take a look at these. And Will Bennett is right. So actually, no. So Will Bennett thinks he's like, you know, kappaing here, right? You know, with like the suggestion. But no, seriously, take a look at CodeRush. Take a look at ReSharper. Take a look at some of the extensions for Visual Studio. Take a look at code analyzers, so the Roslyn Analyzer stuff. Really have a look at all the different tools that are out there. They are fantastic. There are so many different tools that can help you be a better programmer. To help you just, you know, I didn't even have to think of what I needed to do to change that name. It let me focus on the problem instead of just thinking of naming a variable. That's one of the most valuable things that, you know, the plugins and things like that you're going to install are going to help you with, is they're going to help you keep your focus where it should be. So I highly recommend that you take a look at those. Do you name all commits like applying this commit will blank commit message? I don't know. Maybe. I generally don't think about it exactly that way, but that might be what my convention is. I just try to put in something that's going to explain to someone in the future. Yeah, exactly. So applying this commit will fix this. I sometimes wouldn't match the syntax because I might say like fixes this or something like that. Yeah, it's probably close to that, but not intentionally that way. I just put in something that I think is going to be useful. So like add such and such, or, you know, do this. It's usually verb and then what I do. Okay. Let's see, try to execute that. So how to get this one working? This is, you know what? I have an idea. I am going to just ask the documentation. Yeah, that's the one I need. There was that. Ah, okay. So in the setup sequence, they have a new thing. Set up that sequence, that, and then returns. Cool. All right. Got it. Setup sequence, returns, returns. So this one is actually the comment for that first one, and this one is the call for the second one. So let's get rid of that, and we're going to say it is any command word policy again. Is any command word policy. There we go. I figured that would probably give me the answer to that, because it seemed like a pretty simple scenario. Okay. For private use, it is also an option to install the Enterprise pre-release, but you should have the Community Edition of the stable version installed too sometimes. Yes, Tagaron. So we actually do have the Preview Enterprise Edition on here, but you are not. So as you mentioned, you can use it for like personal private use, but you cannot do any kind of commercial development. So what that means is a lot of people that are in here that are professional developers would not be able to use that Enterprise Edition. So if their employer only pays for professional, this is the experience they would get. So I just saw a dino and sometimes scratch his head. Calling Stack Overflow the documentation is a bold move. Yeah, Echo Strike, exactly. Maybe I'm insulting their stuff because, you know, Stack Overflow came up first. Sorry, I shouldn't have said the documentation. I should just say documentation, because that is documentation. And there are a number of open source projects and things like that that really make sure that they answer questions on Stack Overflow, because that really does become a source of information for people using your product. Expect an invocation on the mock once. It's called twice. But was zero times? Create. It is any once 0 times. Interesting. Let's find out what just happened. I want to find that out. Foo is going back here. We don't need that anymore. We don't need that. I'm going to drop a breakpoint there. We're going to debug this real fast and take a look at what happens. Let's see what's going on. We want that to be an entity, not null. That's an entity. This should be null. It is. Okay, cool. So we skip that. Existing word. If it is null, so we skip it. We create a new one. Oh, we're checking the wrong thing. We are updating the command entity now, not creating. That is my mistake. That's the problem. Let's jump back to the test. We don't create the new alias, we update the existing command. Message dot should, wait, what? Hang on. Oh, sorry. We didn't call create, we called update on the command entity once. Any command, and then message should contain that. Okay. I think that ought to fix it now. Yeah, Tagaron, exactly. A lot of people only have the professional edition, so we want to make sure that that's what we're showing here. So I'm going to get rid of that because we don't need that. So discard that change. And then this is fixing that test. Fix repo sequence. Fix. What is this? Save alias test. Push those up, and now that should start building and should start working. A couple of things I want to mention to everybody. If you have not yet, and you are wondering when we do our streams here, you can use our schedule command and the bot will actually respond back with a schedule in the time zone that you asked for. So I put in the state of Ohio in the United States, and it came back with that. You could do cities, you could do countries. So if you're wondering when our streams are, that is the best way to find out. So if you want to make sure you don't miss these. Will Bennett, did I get the chance to check out the auto spec flow tests? No, Will Bennett, I have not seen auto spec flow tests, but it sounds fun. I will want to take a look at that at some point. I have not used spec flow in a little while, but I am a fan of it. It does some really awesome things. So we will definitely look at that, and it should be fun. A couple of other things I want to mention. If you are new here, or actually, even if you're not, you should check out our Discord. It's a great place where a bunch of us chat about different coding stuff. I often see people having some pretty interesting conversations there. You don't have to chime in, you don't have to read it, you don't have to have notifications turned on, but it's a nice place if you just want to see some interesting discussions about development. If you want to contribute to any of our projects, I recommend you take a look at our GitHub. You can find information about the projects and how you can contribute here. If you want to see any of our old videos, a lot of them are here on Twitch, including the ones where we did our solid streams. You can find a collection here on the Twitch video section for all the videos that we've done here that are part of our solid series. And you can also find plenty of stuff on our YouTube channel. I linked that in the chat as well. The YouTube channel has the archives of all of our older stuff, so if anything is missing, that is the place where you can find it. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my name is @Brendonius on Twitter and a lot of other places as well. But if you just want DevChatter related stuff, you can also follow the DevChatter Twitter account, which is DevChatter with an underscore on the end. If you are so inclined and want to learn more about C#, if our regular streams seem a little too advanced for what you are, your level with knowing the language is, take a look at our Learn to Code in C# streams that we do here on the channel. I'm going to be scheduling some more of them, but you can find the information for that at that event. That link doesn't work on mobile. Twitch needs to fix it, but we'll see how that goes. Other stuff of relevance to people, if you are interested in getting any of our cool Chatosaurus merchandise, which we have available, if you're not standing in front of a green screen with a chroma key enabled, it will not be invisible. It will be a green dinosaur and a little thing that says, "I'm coding." So we have a bunch of different stuff, mugs and the like. You can find information for that down below. You can also find it with this link right there to our merchandise stuff. Other things, if you are interested in supporting this channel, the best way you can do that is by either cheering or subscribing. If you subscribe, you get access to all of our cool Chatosaurus stuff, like the hype emotes. And you also get a little egg to let everybody else in the channel know that you are a subscriber to the channel. If you're a Twitch Prime member, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you actually also get Twitch Prime for free if you link your account to Twitch. Twitch is actually owned by Amazon, if you didn't know that. Hey, Stoolpenner, hey! And let's spam some hype in the chat, everybody. So if you didn't know, you gotta be kidding me. I don't have the overlay running right now. I'm gonna have to fix the overlay real fast. But anyway, Stoolpenner just subscribed, so speaking of subscriptions to a channel, that is what happens when you do, so thank you for that, Stoolpenner, much appreciated. Came in with the Twitch Prime sub there, and then my overlay wasn't working. I assume it disconnected at some point while we had the bot down, and it gave up trying, which I'm kind of surprised by, but let me go ahead and refresh that before we end this. So, there we go. Hype! That's what I meant to click on. So that's our hype stuff. So, Stoolpenner, thank you for that Twitch Prime subscription. Much appreciated. Other ways to support the channel. If you don't want to be a subscriber here, you could... Oh, that is funny. It just popped up the Patreon thing. You could also be a Patreon of the... You could be a patron of the channel through Patreon. That's the word I'm going for. We have a couple of people here that are patrons of the channel that help support us. And what we're actually going to be planning on doing is once we can get VS Live Share configured the way we want so that there is an added level of security in it, I want to allow some of our patrons on Patreon to be in the source code while we are developing things. So actually look around, so like we'll be doing a stream, even if I've got another pair on here, have them be able to look around the source code, so If I'm in one file, you could be looking at another file. If I'm scrolled one place, you could be scrolled at another, so you can watch the stream, but also look through the code on your own. So, very fun way to be kind of more interactive in the stream, I think. Should be fun. I think those are the main buttons that I wanted to press on there. Other stuff to do, I want to click on this button, and then I want to click on this button. So, we are going to be rating another channel, so don't go anywhere just now. But I really quickly wanted to thank S&B Lucky Number 7 and Stool Penner for helping to moderate the channel today. We have a bunch of fine people who made the wise decision of following the channel today. They are all listed here. All wonderful people. We had a few resubs and subscriptions today, so thank you to Garrett Hubble, Native Kent, Echo Strike 36, and Stool Penner. So thank you, all of you, for the support. Whether you were just chatting, whether you were viewing, lurking, if you're just sitting around here, that's cool. You never have to chat if you don't want to. You are welcome to stay in the shadows and just enjoy the content that we have here on the stream. And anyway, yeah, with that, I am going to find us a channel to host, raid, something like that. Where are we going? We are going to find a good one. Might just host, we'll see. Glad you all enjoyed the stream. I try to make them fun no matter what we're working on. So, alright, here we go. I am going to go ahead and send us into outro mode, and then I will trigger the host at the end of that. So, everyone, thank you for stopping by. Have a great rest of your weekend. We will see you on Monday, where we will be continuing with some more of our programming. It should be a fun one. We look forward to seeing you all there. Wait, what? You don't have permission to run the Discord command. Uh-oh, Janisku, I need to fix something. I broke something. You should have access to the Discord command. Yeah. That's the Discord. I will fix that. Wait, what? Janisku can't, but Echo Strike can? And Will Bennett can't. So apparently the simple commands must have somehow got set to be subscriber only. So looks like simple commands. Yeah. So Malachi, we're gonna fix that one. So anyway, take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy coding, and we will see you on Monday. At least we now have a bug to fix, and the code's not merged in yet, so we'll get it. Doo-doo.